Some buyers are fearful of auctions. I actually like the transparency of auctions. I think there are things within the auction that are geared towards the seller. Of course, it's an unconditional offer. You have to have done all your due diligence beforehand. The fall of the gavel, it's a done deal. It's a sale. If the buyer changes their mind, the auctioneer actually signs a contract on behalf of the buyer. Or if the seller changes their mind and there's a reserve and it's reached reserve, auctioneer once again signs a contract on behalf of the vendor. So it's a definitive process. So sometimes that sense of I don't have a cooling off period can be frightening. But the fact that an auction is transparent is helpful for everyone involved. From a buyer's perspective, you can actually see exactly where the market sees value in this property. We were having this discussion beforehand. If you're the only one, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're interested in this particular property and there's no other buyer there, I'd rather be at an auction with no other buyer there than 10 other buyers there. It could work in your advantage. You say, this is where I see value. They're going to come back and say, this is where the vendor sees value or what the vendor will accept to sell. It's a live negotiation. Auctions are a tool. They're not something to be fearful of. You just need to be prepared before you go to auction. Whereas in a private treaty sale, you negotiate and then during the cooling off period, you can get your finance sorted, you can do your pest and building reports, you can do every other check that you need to do. Even if you haven't had the contract properly reviewed, you can have changes to the contract agreed to during the cooling off period. Whereas for an auction, everything has to have already been done because you're buying the property as is according to the conditions that have already been agreed. If you've just turned up and you haven't agreed to the conditions, haven't had the contract reviewed, don't bid at auction. You need to have your contract reviewed. You need to have your finance in order. You need to have done all your due diligence beforehand. So that's why they can be a little bit frightening, but the fairness and the transparency that they bring, it's a great way to buy property.